All right, what is up, everybody? Yeah, good to be back. Um, we have a lot to talk about today. We have a lot of man, a lot of things have changed. I don't know how else to kind of put it. Um, but I think that there are a lot of unexpected changes that are not quite on people's radar. And I want to try and make sure that everybody is as well equipped as they possibly are or can be for the coming weeks of the Pro Tour, for anybody traveling to Worlds, whatever the case may be. There, there's a lot of stuff that we need to talk about. A lot of stuff. We get caught up in chat. What's up, Thomas? Good to see you. Already saw my other decks. Pulling out Jarl. Oh man. His hero ability is an interesting one. I think the weapon's gonna carry. I don't think it's gonna be the hero ability. Me personally, but we'll see. We'll see. Good to see you, Z. What's up? What's up? Thank you all for being here. I really do appreciate it. Okay, how's Briar in the CC meta? Non-existent. 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 But there is a lot of decks that do something very similar. We'll put it that way. So the first thing that I actually wanted to touch on first, just wanted to mention this. Doesn't have anything to do with the meta at all, actually, but it's very important. And I hope everybody has seen the the trailer, the ad, whatever you want to call it, Night at the Armory, that Free Floating produced. And obviously it's amazing, right? Like it is so incredibly well done, right? Incredibly well done. And you don't need me to tell you that to notice it, right? But what I wanted to emphasize is how important things like that are for the game as a whole. It's content like that and marketing like that that truly brings people to the game. There's a lot of content creators out there, like you know myself and a lot of other people. Like, do we bring some people into the game? Maybe, probably. But that type of content is hyper tailored to serve that purpose, and they did an amazing job. They encapsulated like the culture of the game. They leaned on Pablo's just love for Guardian, right? And they like had the stats and like there were so many things that people probably just glanced over. Brody getting that shuffle in, right? Like just so many little nuances that the the community knows, right? And the community can appreciate, and the fact that if there's anybody that's wanting to play a competitive card game and they see that, I don't know how they don't at least look at the game. They may never play a game, they may never even try it, but they will look at it. And that's like that's like 90% of the battle. And if they ever try it, well, we know what they're gonna do. They're gonna spend the next 5 years of their life playing it. Um, and I just really wanted to say an amazing job from both the people that produced it, refloating, anybody that participated in it, and then also LSS for actively seeking out to do it. It was just absolutely amazing. It was incredible. I was watching, I was like, this is what we needed. Like it, I don't know. It was really, really well done. So I just want to take a second to say that and say that it was an amazing job from those who made it and also created this initiative to make it. So let's actually get into let's talk about some meta, right? Because that's what we have to well, we just gotta hop into it. So what we're gonna do is the goal that I have, Betsy Meta Deck 2025. I don't know about that, Chief. I don't know about that, Chief. So the goal that we have currently is going to be the plan that we have is I want to take a look from week 1 and show the results to week 2 and then kind of throw the projection out there or the prediction via, of course, our favorite format. We're gonna make a tier list, right? And this is going to be for what we know now about the Rosetta heroes. Now that things are a little bit more solidified, a lot more information has been gathered. But what I can promise you, nobody is going to guess what I think the best deck in the format is. Um, a lot of people are probably going to think it's a really hot take. So I'm telling you, it's not Enigma, it's not Dio, it's not Aurora, it's not Viscerai. I think there's a new best deck, and we'll see when we get to the tier list. But it's a spicy one. It's a spicy one. It's not Betsy. Sorry, it's not Betsy. Um, so I want to go ahead and go to week 1. Let me go ahead and swap screens. And let's go ahead and dig into kind of week 1, what we were looking at, and then kind of go from there, right? This is kind of the situation. We had Aurora on top, but I say on top loosely. It was just about the same performance as Enigma. And then kind of clustered together was Florian, Viscerai, New, and Azalea. And then as we move into week 2, we see that Enigma kind of takes the lead, which we predicted that. We said that before the Dio deck came out during our last tier list, we said Enigma was the best deck in the format. That is what we predicted, what, 5, 6 weeks ago? So it panned out, right? We got that one. And then I said once Dio came out with the Armory deck and got access to Cerebellum, that she would be the best deck in the format. I do not still hold that opinion. That has changed. I think she'll be very good, but I do not think that she'll be the best deck of the game. Aurora is still kind of hanging out near the top, relatively same performance. But what we see, if we go, we see Azalea drop off and the Rune Blades move up. That is the main shift. Azalea drop, and then the other 2 Rune Blades. Sorry, Vinny, she's trying. But CYB be hurting. And she's a lot harder of a deck to play. Much more difficult to play. And so basically Azalea took a hit this week, and then New, Florian, and Viscerai moved up. So we have 3 Rune Blades in the top 4 on a weekly basis, which that's not. There's so many splits and stuff at these pro quests that you have to look at this data. You can't take it at face value. You just can't. I really wish they showed like the conversion rates, all that stuff, but they just simply do not do that. So, let's go ahead and I guess we just go and hop in. So I just wanted to show that as kind of a context and how we're moving, right? Enigma is just planting the flag saying, I'm the best deck in the format, prove me wrong. And Aurora is trying to do that, but kind of falling short a little bit. And then the other Rune Blades are kind of moving up and really not challenging Enigma, but really trying to challenge the Aurora spot, is basically how it's looking. So, for anybody that's never, been here for one of these, this is how we do it. We do S through D, and then we have a little PVE tier, which I was incredibly wrong last time. I was really wrong, and I will admit that. However, the deck that I put in PVE is not what I think is the best deck in the game. I know a lot of people are going to kind of draw that conclusion, maybe, but no, that is not the case. So we're going to basically currently, I'm going to put the hero in currently discussing. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to try and talk a little bit quicker, but keep that slower pace. So if you don't like the pace, like the 4 people in the comment section for the last one, just speed it up. Put that baby on 1.5, 1.75, or even 2x if you really want to just delete the southern drawl. So here we go. Let's go ahead and get started. We'll start with WTR. Okay. Katsu, there's no reason to play this hero. You're the worst of the 3 ninjas. I don't think this needs to be rehashed, right? What's up, Nick? Good to see you. What's up? Good to see you. Now, CYB Techlo, it's Victor. CYB new. Oh, we got some hot takes. We can't 2x win live. I mean, that, you know, I'm not gonna lie. I use the 1.5 button so often when I watch stuff on it's just too good of a deal. You get half your time back. Literally. Um but Katsu, there's just no reason to play, right? If you want to play a slower uh option, both ninjas kind of do it better. There's a lot of armor in the format, it's hard to force on hits, and the others just do the aggression plan better. And also for anybody that hasn't joined me before on these, we like to start in WTR and move down the set. Is kind of the idea that we really like to take. And so let's go ahead and talk about Bravo as well. Bravo just doesn't do it, right? Like yes, I saw the Bravo fatigue, the prism at the Pro Quest. I actually caught uh, the end of that game, and it is basically it is a line of play that you can take in the meta. But the problem is that when you get at the high level, also, I'm going the tier list will be built based on kind of the world's slash calling at world's environment. However, when I get to a hero, I will specify if there's a lot more game to be had at the ProQuest level. So that way both types of players can extract as much value as possible. But what physically goes on the tier list will be for the world's environment. So Bravo is definitely just going to be in. He's going to be in D tier. There's no way to cut it. I think in a ProQuest environment, he could go up to C, just because you can do CYB. Anything with CYB in it will gain a lot of equity in ProQuest. That's the unfortunate truth. There's no way to sugarcoat this. That's just how it is. And it's because people just don't want to, and I don't really blame them, put in the work to come up with an accurate solution. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do either, but there are solutions. Let me get caught up in chat. I watch everything at 1.5. That's the way to do it. Hear me out. But Leviathan is a great deck to bring in. Seems like I don't see people prepping into her. I do agree, but I don't know. I don't think Levi is the play. That is not my top deck. Oh, that's true. Yeah, you're right. You get half your time back on 2x. You are correct. You're at 100% correct. Be a fourth of your time. Good job calling me out on the math. I should know that. I should know that. So next we will talk about. Let's go ahead and talk about Reiner. I gotta go and apologize to Blake if he's in chat. I'm sorry. The problem with Reiner is it's very simple. Sure, you have game into new like that. That's awesome, right? The problem is there's so many Aurora, Viserai, Azalea, all those aggro decks that are very efficient are just going. They're just going to run you over. So you're going to win that one matchup, sure, but you're going to get absolutely destroyed by the rest of them. And it's really unfortunate. CYB Fatigue Bravo can beat everything but Enigma if you're not at the ProQuest level. I agree. I 100% agree. But I don't know about when you get to the higher level where a lot of people have active plans, have practice plans, and so forth. So Reinar just isn't it. He's better. Oh, I need to put Bravo in D tier. Sorry, he should not be in C. I was just saying that he goes to C at the ProQuest level, but at Worlds level, he's still down here. I'm gonna give the advantage to Reinar because he does have game into Enigma, and Enigma is a very relevant deck. But you are gonna lose those race matchups. You might do okay against New and probably Florian because he wants to actively block with very specific cards, and you kind of interrupt that. But Florian's not. His representation hasn't been high enough to warrant playing Reinar. The last WTR hero is Dorinthia. Dorinthia is the best of the warriors. I think it's safe to say that. The other ones are just not in a great spot. D tier is WTR tier. I mean, I really want to put Dory in D tier. I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of unfortunate, but can you build a deck that hyper focuses on racing Aurora? Yes. Does that same deck get blown out by Viserai? Probably. But I think you can build a version. Maybe. I'm gonna say D tier for anybody that's not Josh, and if you're Josh, C tier. So I'm gonna put Dory in C. Um, and we'll go straight in to Arcane Rising. Not in the best spot, but not absolute hot dog water, right? So let's go to Arcane Rising. We got Dash. Dash is actually a very, very interesting one. Obviously, I know it looks like I'm like speeding through this, but once we get into the more meta relevant heroes, we'll slow down a little bit and we'll take our time and actively discuss and things like that. But Josh said he solved the Dory enigma on Twitter. He wouldn't lie to us. I mean, use the word solved. It's in the theory stage, right? There's theory, practice, and then deny. No, I'm just kidding. So we got Dash IE, the OG, right? And you have to honestly ask yourself, why are you even like, she's not bad. She's a good aggro deck. She can lean into the whole CYB strategy with this super slow, fatiguey kind of style. But like with Dio getting the Armory kit, I don't know why you wouldn't play Dio. It's kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of like the in the last meta where you could play Zen or Fi, right? It's not that like Fi was horrendous. It wasn't great, but like it wasn't bad. Just Zen did everything better, and I think Dio is really reaching that point specifically. So I'm gonna put Dash right now at the top of C, but could make it into the top of B as things kind of shake out. Just because it goes in there doesn't mean it's staying. We have to like everything's got to be symmetrical and stuff like that. So, okay, let's go ahead and let's see. Arcane Rising, Kano. So there's nothing wrong about yeah, exactly. Like just she's solid. She does a thing. The thing just isn't as good as her other option. Simple as that. Let's talk about Kano. So Kano, last time I just gave it up to the professionals basically, and I haven't heard anything since. Every Kano player I know has been spending more time on Verdance. So I'm gonna take a guess and say this ship has sailed. There's a lot of players that historically have played it that they're not really they could be hiding it. I mean, of course, but like I'm just not it's dead silent on this hero, and I think it's probably for good reason. So I'm gonna put Kano kind of in the middle of C tier, where I think I had him at the bottom of B last time. I think he's gonna end up landing in kind of Kano not good. Yeah, like not horrendous, but this is just not it. Just not it. Hi, as a Kano player, it's upsetting. Yeah. Yeah, it's very oddly quiet with this hero right now, and it's interesting. I've never, because it's a very loud player base, and I've never seen this type of quiet. So either he's like one of the worst heroes in the game, or they broke something and it's like its own lockdown, right? There's nothing in between with this hero right now. Uh, Simple as that. So I might even put Kano below Dory. Man, yeah, I think I will actually. I'm obviously leaning toward absolutely maybe a Kano or two at Worlds, but nobody breaks anything. Yeah, Kano's really good in LL. 100%. I agree. Okay. So, let's go ahead and talk about Azalea. Azalea is a very interesting one, right? We saw her progression through the week kind of drop. Uh, if you look at that, right, like this matchup here is kind of iffy, right? Unless I'm not going to say iffy. I think it's perfectly fine for Azalea, but if it's a skill check for the Azalea, it's as simple as that. Can you balance leaving gas in the tank, setting up for the next turn while also presenting the appropriate amount of damage? And there's a lot of balancing, right? And against Aurora, it's okay. If you stop her from doing her thing, you probably get the game. But if not, it's like close. It's a very close game. Viscerai kind of does the same thing, and then things get a little rough. So like up here, it's looking a little rough, but at the same time, Azalea just feels like what Dash used to be, where it's like, I'm just going to be 50-50 into everything. And if I do my thing, I'm going to win the game. If you do your thing, you're going to win the game. That's kind of where I think Azalea lands. Now, I'll caveat that with I don't think 50-50 is a bad place to be in this meta specifically. So, like, let's give credit where credit's due. I think it's literally as simple as that, is like the fact that she is 50-50 into so much is a positive. I'm not saying that in any like negative way. I think it's actually really good. So I just realized that chat is not popping up at all on the screen. Y'all weren't going to tell me? Y'all weren't going to tell me, chat? It's just blank. I feel like nobody's talking to me, but y'all are. Hang on, let me fix it. Chat. Paste that. Please work. Shit. Chat done broke. Chat done broke. Y'all just aren't there. Y'all just aren't there. Let me channel my inner Ethan. What would Ethan do? First he would be better because he does shit like this. That's the first thing. Yeah, I'm just supposed to copy the pop out chat. Go here to chat. And then paste it. What is that? Chat has been giving me an astronomical amount of trouble lately. I don't know what's happening. Sorry that you can't read your what's currently happening. I do apologize. But we're doing our best. I'm not going to hold you guys up. I'm going to respect everybody's time. And I'm going to fix it on my end later. Okay. So let me get caught up in chat that's not there. Zelia's vibing. I agree. I think she's in a good spot. We're about to place her in just a second. You should speed through, obviously, D or P. Yeah, of course. That's the plan. That's the plan. Oh, I forgot you have chat on this. You can't see. Oh, man. What would Ethan do? That's it. That's it. All right. All right. So, sorry about the chat mishap, but we're gonna roll with it. And we have 3 wins and 0 losses from no games played, but we're gonna roll with it, chat. we're gonna improvise. We're gonna improvise. Okay, so Azalea, I think she's very solid A tier. Simple as that. I think 50-50 in a lot of matchups is an exceptional place to be in this meta. I don't think that's really going to surprise anybody. I think she's just going to be an exceptional role player. If you're really nervous and undecisive, I think this is a great hero to land on. And then the last one for Arcane Rising is Viscerai. Okay, let's talk for a second. Viscerai. This is where everybody in the invisible chat says that I think Viscerai is the best deck in the format. And that is incorrect. That would not be correct. So, Viscerai is really interesting. So, I think we have finally concluded who the best Runeblade is, right? And if we look at the charts, it's obviously not Aurora, even though she's at the top of the charts. And trust me, this is coming from somebody who has spent most of their time working with Aurora. I do not think, even though Aurora is topping these charts, I do not think that Aurora is the best Runeblade in the game right now. Simple as that. Unfortunately, I don't think it's Vinny either. If CYB did not exist, I think it's Vinny. I'm with you. I am 100% with you. We did not analyze that when we decided we were going to ball during the last tier list. I think that Viscerai has solidified the position of best Runeblade. And I know you're like, how can you look at this image and come up with that conclusion? I think it's solely off the fact that Aurora is much easier to play. It's much more exciting. It's a newer hero, and there's a lot of factors going into the ProQuest level. I think that we will see Viscerai's representation overtake Aurora's representation at Worlds and the calling associated with Worlds. Aurora's representation will still be very, very high. I'm not trying to dispute that. But with that being said, I think that Viscerai is the best Runeblade in the game currently. Now, let's go ahead and place Viscerai because he's good into Enigma. He's okay, Purgatory and some other things can kind of get you a lot of leeway in this matchup, but it's not amazing. It's not exactly what you want to be running into. Against Aurora, it's kind of rough. If I'm being 100% honest, I think you're slightly unfavored into Aurora. And against Dio, I think you're also a little unfavored, which is why I think he's probably gonna land in the top-ish of A tier. Is kind of where I think, which, spoiler alert, all the Runeblades, they're going to miss out on S tier, as sad as that is. Unfortunately, because if I'm saying he's the best and he's here, well, you can't really be an S tier, right? So that kind of narrows a couple. What is that spicy pick for best deck in the format? We'll see in a little bit. All right. Let's go ahead and continue. Did we get everything in Arcane Rising? We got those 4. Yep, we got 4 heroes from Arcane Rising. So let's go ahead and go into what would Monarch, right? Because it went Crucible, then Monarch. So we have 2 heroes for Monarch. Bolton. Yeah, this ain't it. Yeah, Plow Under destroys the combo. There's so much hate. Like, people don't have to block till like turn 3 because they got so much armor. He's not the worst, but just really not it. Like, really not it. Probably landing C or top of D. I'm probably going to put him in the top of D. And let's go ahead and go Leviah. So Leviah, I think, is a very strong pick. I think she's very respectable deck. The problem is I think the aggressive decks are a little too aggressive. And when Earth heroes have, they kind of have their own carrion husk in a fashion, right? That has no downside. You like Leviah is good just everything else moved a little bit higher is kind of the problem. Um, a problem I have with Vis being better than Aurora is that Dio coming in warm. Yeah. So I will 100% concede the fact that the Dio matchup is way better for Aurora. 100% agree with you. The problem is I don't think the Dio representation will be as high as I previously predicted. That so like if we were going off the old thought, I'm with you 100%. We are 100% aligned. But uh, I'm telling you, what I think is the best deck and format is going to change what everybody is thinking right now with these placements. I'm telling you, and I know you're like, well, why don't you go ahead and place it? And it's like because we have to tell a story and we have to explain why. If I just throw them up there and just say, hey, believe me, like everybody's like, what is it, right? So let's go ahead and let's keep going. Levia, like I said, solid deck. Probably going to be at the top of B tier if I had to guess. Just everything else got a little too good. It's really that simple. Not a bad deck though. Actually, a really good deck. So let's go with the next thing. So after Monarch had Tails, everything is gone from Tails. So then we have what? Everfest. There was nothing in Everfest. Or was it technically Arachne? No, Arachne came in Dynasty. After Everfest was Uprising, right? Sure, we'll do it anyway. We're going with Uprising. So, 5. Okay, last time I put him in PvE tier. It was kind of as a meme. I didn't think he was like the actual worst deck in the game. I was wrong. I was 100% wrong. No way to put it. I mean, I completely underestimated the fact that like Salt the Wound is the card that it is. I'm not saying he's like an amazing pick, but it's like he's okay. He's slightly above average. So I'm thinking like the top of B tier. Like I'm gonna respect him. I'm gonna put some respect on his name. But I have to admit I was completely wrong on the last list. This hero is there's a reason he's not higher, and it'll make sense later. There's a reason that he's there's a reason that he's not higher. So we're gonna put him at the top of B. Could eke in the bottom of A. Is where I'm gonna put 5. I really underestimated Salt the Wound, and that is my bad, and I apologize for that. So let's go ahead and get into what would be next. Arachne, okay, PvE going next. No, he's probably better than Katsu, to be honest. Probably, man, Reinor's like that bad. Let's do that. Let's do that. We have our first PvE hero, and it's Katsu. It's a shame. It's a shame. Okay, yeah, Arachne's like super mid. Like if you banish the right card, you win. If you don't, you probably lose. It's that simple. Probably worse than Reiner. Yep, we're gonna go with that final answer for the time being. It might move again. You never know, right? So then we had what? Outsiders, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it was Outsiders. So we got to talk Riptide and Azuri. Okay. So let's go ahead and talk about Riptide or Rolltide, whichever one you prefer. So he's a solid aggro hero. If you're playing Fatigue, I think that you are misevaluating the current state of the meta. It's that simple. So you're basically doing the aggressive kind of fat stack into anybody that has the possibility to fatigue you and kind of just run them out of cards through aggression. Is kind of what I've always considered the best version of Riptide. The problem is it's just not fast enough. The aggro decks are doing better. Ira's not on this list because she comes out after the World Championship, and this is for the last 2 weeks of ProQuest and the World Championship. So she will not be on this tier list. I can discuss her after, more than willing to do so. But she will not be placed on the tier list. No roll tide up here. Oh, sorry about that. Sorry. Okay. So Riptide is like solid B, like not bad, somewhere around there, probably. If I had to guess, that's like he does a thing, and the thing's not bad. It's just not being good into Enigma is not enough. You need to be doing other stuff, right? You don't want to get rolled by Viscerai or Aurora or whatever the case may be. And using Phase Purgatory against Riptide is so easy. It's just unbelievable. So he's not a bad deck. He just needs a better meta condition. And it's unfortunate because his time in the sun was kind of short lived. It is kind of unfortunate. So let's talk about Azuri. Once again, like, Azuri did win the Pro Tour and everybody practiced against it because they realized it was a real deck, and then she immediately fell right back off, right? So obviously they played very, very well to win the Pro Tour, of course, but I think this is a hero that once they get back on the map, it kind of suffers a little bit, kind of like that Kano kind of. Obviously, they're not bringing AB, but they're learning the play patterns and what the threats are and how to actively mitigate maximum value from the Azuri opponent. So I think that she's just the second best assassin. Is as simple as like she's not bad. Kind of like that dash symptom, right? Where it's like she's good into Dio. I'll admit that she's like really good into Dio. She can kind of give Aurora some trouble. The problem is you have a lot of instances like sigils, and you have a decent number of D reacts as well, and a huge fridge to really buy enough time to kind of get through that disruption. So I don't think she's bad, but not amazing. Not an all-star. Simple as that. Let's go to the next set, which would be what? Is it Bright Lights? Is it really? Are we already in the Bright Lights? Chat. We're on a roll. Let me know in the invisible chat right now that only I can see if you like this more fast-paced kind of discussion, like minimize the amount of time on the weaker heroes, and kind of maximize, or do you like that really drawn out, methodical everything, right? You're right. Dusk Till Dawn before Bright Lights. You are 100% correct. So we got to talk about Vinny and Prism, and then we get into the old mechs. The old mechs. Okay, Vinny, I think is super solid. The problem is CYB that kind of came out of nowhere and really threw a wrench in things, but she's a really good deck. The problem is I don't know. I think the Enigma players are really learning how to minimize the amount of advantage Vinny actually has in that matchup. I'm still going with it's Vinny favored, but it's not by as much as it used to be. People are learning. People are learning. So we're gonna go ahead and put Vinny in, probably end up in the bottom of A tier. I'm still a believer. But depending on how many heroes make it up in the A tier, we may have to move her down to B. In fact, I'm gonna put her at the top of B, and she's gonna have to prove herself to A, based on the other heroes that I play. So we'll do it that way. Okay, let's go and talk about Prism. So Prism's interesting. I think that this hero just doesn't have it. I doubted her on my last tier list, and she actually showed up at the calling. I think she actually did like really well. There were like 3 or 4 of them in like the top 32-ish or something. But I think that was because people sided out a lot of their poppers and stuff like that. So like Could she sneak in somewhere? Sure. I just think that the new way the deck works is like losing the tome just lost a lot of consistency. I really do. And so, can one high roll and get into top 8 at Worlds? Of course, it could happen. But I call me a doubter. Call me a doubter. I'm gonna put her in probably like middle of C. Not terrible, but she's solid and uh just waiting for her moment. I think it's as simple as that. Just waiting for her moment. So now we're done with Dusk Till Dawn. Now we can move into good old bright lights. Okay. We're gonna get the easy ones out of the way. Max, I wanted this hero. I thought it was his time. I thought it was his time. But I think that there the top decks like Viscerai, Aurora, and Azalea, and the Earth Heroes being able to like move the arsenal, just the decks that you're supposed to be good into because they're slow, they have like uninteractable disruption that you can't do anything about. And then the ones that are really quick that kind of fight you on that axis is like they're a little too quick. So it is not the time for Max, unfortunately, I have to say. I don't think he's horrible, but it's just we're gonna wait till next season on him. Let's talk about Teklo. Teklo is the king of Dirtle, right? Just dirtling it up. He got CYB, he got some AB, he got a lot of stuff, right? The problem is, once again, the fast decks are too fast. Like you go against a Viscerai and you like try to fatigue him, he's just gonna stack you, right? And then he has Reaping Blade, so he capture life at what 43, give or take, and then just doesn't attack you until he has like 17 Malefics out, and then double Mordreds into swarming, like just some stupid stuff, right? And yeah, it's not good. It really isn't. It is not an ideal spot for Tekla Volsons. The aggro decks are too fast, they're too efficient. While the slow decks, like you're probably gonna beat the shit out of the Earth Heroes. Especially if you have like a CYB package. And at a ProQuest level, you might do really well, right? Like, especially if you have CYB, because everybody's going to do a little bit better in the ProQuest if they are running a CYB deck. And so I gotta put him probably right next. I'm gonna give him a couple of points just because he is. I think Rampart's a hell of a card. Hmm. What's better, Rampart or equipping armor? Oh, but you got the pop. I'm gonna put him under. Dang, he moved down quick. Yeah, he's gonna go toward the bottom of D tier. Unfortunately, that's just it, right? Simple as that. Top of B tier, but Vinny could make it to A. I'm waiting to see how many heroes land in that A tier slot before I actively um she could end up in A. I'm not sold on the fact that she's B. I'm just making some space for now. Dash IO. This is the big one. We have the Armory deck coming out on Friday. She gets access to the 3 most important cards are the boost attack. That's basically another 0 for 60 with an extra bonus. Then you have Cerebellum, obviously, which is the most impactful, and the chess piece even is actually surprisingly good. I think this hero will be an all-star starting on Friday. The thing is, though, I'm going to say that with an asterisk, that you're not going to see that in week 3 results for ProQuest. The deck's too complicated. People will have access to product issues. I mean, there might be some like petty shit happening where somebody goes and buys all the the Dio decks just so their locals can't get it or something. I don't know. Some first week shenanigans happening, right? And so the last week is where I think she'll kind of pop off a little bit and actually render some results on the metagame minute review. So week 3, she'll increase where she's at now. I mean, she kind of can't, right? Or can't get any worse, right? I don't even think she got one. That's IE. Oh, dash IO. She won one. So I can guarantee you she won more than one. She'll probably land somewhere along where New and Azalea is, like not like up here, but she'll be here. And then week 4 probably land somewhere near Florian or Viserai, if I had to guess. That's my prediction. So very, very strong hero. Undoubtedly a very strong hero. And one that you're going to have an answer to going forward. I think this is one of those heroes that's really demanding those sideboard slots. You just she's just that good. You have a couple versions. You have the system reset where they have the combo, then you have the more traditional style. Both have their merit and their reason of existing. And so I'm gonna go ahead and put Dio in S tier. I think she's really good, but she's not the best deck in the game. She's not the best deck in the game. I can guarantee that. So let's go ahead and move into heavy hitters, right? That would be the next one. Okay. Betsy, I am sorry. I know we got a lot of love for Betsy in the chat, but Betsy is literally a PvE hero. I still think that she is a limited project that's unfinished. Simple as that. She needed to solve a problem and she did so, and it is what it is. Kasai, I mean, I wish you the best. Honestly. Like, I don't know what you're actively doing. Oh yeah, Olympia. I forgot about him. Oh man, the disrespect. No. Uh I just completely forgot about him. So Kasai is just not it right now, right? Dual wielding warrior is dead. It is absolutely gone. If you have 2 weapons in your deck, I encourage you to reevaluate your life choices and consider other options. And there is no build of Kasai that doesn't involve two weapons. It's that's her whole thing. And so it's just not her. She's not a bad deck. She's just really bad in this meta. She just doesn't do it. Everything's too fast. The games are not long enough to where she can extract. She'll probably get maybe 3 value out of Dynamo before she rolls over. So just absolutely not it. I'd probably put her somewhere around here if I had to guess. Not it. Kasai is not it. And then we'll move into Olympia. Olympia just has a couple cheesy strats that he can try. Nothing crazy. And yeah, he's just a PvE hero. Probably a little bit better than Betsy, but not by a lot. Not by a lot. I can promise you that. You have 2 weapons in your deck. You better be playing Z. I mean, that's a fair statement. That's a fair statement. Yeah. So Olympia is not it. Okay. And then we have KO. KO. I expected a lot more people to bring KO, and I still believe that his representation was very high. He has just had a very, very hard time converting. He's actually converting very poorly. I was expecting him to do way better, not on the power of the deck, but surely on representation and just the law of large numbers, right? And it just did not happen. Like I truly believe that he had really high representation, but he just did that bad. He literally just did that bad. So I'm going to put him at like a respectable B tier, but not any higher than that. KO's got a couple issues where even if you have all the go again baked in, you're not that good into Enigma. The Rune Blades have gotten a little too good and they can just outrace you. Simple as that. So, Victor, we have to wait place Victor. And that's because his context is heavily dependent on the next thing I'm about to say. And we're going to talk about what I think is the best hero in Flesh and Blood for the World Championship in the last 2 weeks of ProQuest season. Which obviously means it's out of these heroes. Okay? We know Enigma is up there, right? Like we know we can probably just go ahead and put her up there. Do I think that she's the best? No, I don't think Enigma is the best deck in the format. I do think that the best deck in the format comes from the same set, though. I think the deck. This might be a hot take. This might be a hot take. I think the best deck in Flesh and Blood right now, from a match spread perspective, is Zen. I think Zen. I think Zen is the best deck in the game right now. Now. Hear me out. Hear me out. Let me explain. Let me explain. This is why, right? I promise, chat, just bear with me, and I will explain everything, okay? But what I need to do before I explain, I need you to just say, you know what, Nathan? You're not always right, but like you're right a lot, right? So I'm just gonna believe you this one time. I just need you to believe me for just 15 minutes. And then once I place all these other heroes, we're gonna break down exactly why I think Zen is the best deck in the game right now. Because I need you to see that for it to make any fucking sense, right? So we're gonna go ahead and do that. We're gonna place the other heroes really quickly, talk about it, and then we're gonna circle back on why I think Zen is the best hero in the game. Okay? So let's go ahead. New, I think, is like bottom of A tier. I don't think it's like she's putting up numbers, but I think it's people. I think these matchups are going to get a lot worse once the decks get more refined. I think she's seeing a little bit more success because the decks just are not as refined. So Jacob is onto something. It's the fact it's not that he does the most powerful thing. It's just I solely think that Zen is the best deck in Flesh and Blood right now because of the matchup spread. It is that is it. That is what I believe. So New is like a super solid deck. I just think that she's not quite good enough. Simple as that. I mean, she's like top upper tier, right? Of course. And then we'll go ahead and place Aurora. And I think Aurora would probably land right here. Now, I said that Viscerai was the best Rune Blade, so I'm going to put her right underneath. Nobody in between, right? And she does the thing, right? She's very, very aggressive. Show me Zen on the win chart. So here, he was right here, and then here, he's right here. He's moving up. He's moving up, and I promise you. Tanner said he finally read team chat. Where's the lie, though? Where is the lie, though? Yeah, we have to talk about Victor once everything solidifies because it's kind of a piece of it, right? And so, oh man, okay. So now we can get into, so yeah, Aurora just is like one of the most solid aggro decks. The problem is she's a little bit vulnerable due to her block value in her deck, and her bricks hit a little hard depending on how the deck's built. We are not back on blue surging. That is not it. That is not it. Then we're gonna say Verdance is exceptionally mid. Probably somewhere in the ballpark of here. Exceptionally average. And then Florian, I think, is a good anti-meta call. I think that Florian plays well into Zen. Dio, if you're heavily teched, decent into Azalea, and then really good into Aurora. So you basically, you gain a lot of equity playing Florian right now. Jarl's body double. I mean, so I think we know enough now to place Victor, and I think Victor is a meta call based on this placement. So now it can kind of make sense. I obviously this one's going to give you some trouble. Obviously, I think as the Enigma players go further away from CYB, I think your matchup gets a little better. Actually, probably worse now that I think about it, because those cards don't block. And yeah, so that's a dog. This matchup, you're probably okay. If anything, you might be pretty good. You have to have the disruption package, though. Obviously, you're going to be a dog in this matchup, and you're going to be okay in this one. Like this is actually pretty rough for Aurora, and then obviously you're good here. So you're really good into like half the field, a little bit more than half of the field, right? You're just a dog into Viscerai and probably Florian and Enigma, but you're really good into like these four heroes, which is kind of where you want to be, right? So he's a solid meta pick. Simple as that. And now we're done with all the heroes. I'm just kidding. We have to talk about Acilio. Okay. Acilio's an interesting one. I'm going to be 100% real with chat, and I hope that anybody that has watched my stream more than once or at all knows that I am more than willing to admit when I simply do not know something. And this is one of those cases. Chat, I'm going to keep it 100 with you, and I don't know where this fucking hero goes. I don't have a clue. I even have a teammate that plays it, and I still don't have a clue. Like, I literally I know when he does the thing, it's the most insane thing. But I also know that when he doesn't do the thing, it's not even a game. So I don't know how to evaluate the hero. I think it's literally as simple as that. If Taylor says he's mid-C, I'm gonna go with him. I'm gonna put him right there, which means Arachne has to come down here and Kano has to go here to make things even. Because we're not just gonna have one row kind of sticking out. That doesn't do it. Okay. I'm just gonna take Taylor's word for it. He's done the reps. I clearly haven't. So let me thank you, chat, for sticking around. We actually had a bunch of people pile in to the stream. Let me explain why Zen, I believe, is the best hero in Flesh and Blood right now. To squeak out a win, especially during ProQuest season. Why is Zen the best? Well, clearly you're really good into Enigma. Everybody knows that. Everybody, right? Everybody knows Zen Ninja in general is really good into Enigma, right? So you're already good into like one of the top decks, right? Easy. Easy. No disagreement there. Then we talk about Dio. Just so you know, the Zen list going forward kind of have a defensive package. And the defensive package kind of puts Dio in the situation where you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. And basically, what you can do is efficiently walk the life total down and force them to block. And once you force Dio to block, you kind of just win the game. It's literally that simple. And he's actually very good at doing that with that extra defensive package built into the deck. So already, just off of what I said, he is literally favored, I believe, into the other two best decks. So straight off the rip, no matter what I say next, you have to be thinking maybe Nathan's onto something. Maybe he's onto something, right? And so we go to the next one, Viserai. Zen State token. I want you to think about, just think about it. Just think about it. The value that a Zen State token gets against Viscera. You have so many, like, you turn off his hero ability for 2 turns, literally, unless the only counterplay that Viserai has is the fact that he can basically stack rune chance while the Zen State token is out. And that's like the only counterplay you have, right? And then obviously Zen is one of the best decks at playing Warmongers, right? So you have that counter as well. And so basically the whole fucking game, Vis is put into a spot where he has to just build rune chance. And I don't know if anybody's ever played Viserai into an aggro matchup. That's not how you want to do. He's not like tickling his toes while he's, making his instinct token. No, he's throwing 15, 17, 18 damage while doing all of that. And like that's the ultimate problem, is the fact that literally, like, you could say the argument, oh well, if the Zen State's out, I'll just go become the Arc Knight, read the runes, whatever. And like, cool, if you're running read the runes in the Zen, you're gonna lose anyway. But like, they might have to, because Zen State token and all of that is just insane in that matchup, and Warmongers, right? So that matchup, so Zen is literally favored into what I believe the top 3 other decks are, right? And then Aurora. Let's talk about Aurora. He may be slightly unfavored. Maybe. It's probably closer to a 50-50, because it's kind of that situation where Zen is the more consistent aggro deck, but Aurora, because Art of War is gone, has the higher ceiling. So if like Aurora has any bit of high roll, she kind of wins. But if she has any bit of low roll, Zen can't low roll to match, right? Like, he's basically going to win. So this is a very flippy matchup. It is a very, complex way to say it. So he's really good into these 3. He's flipping with Aurora, and then Azalea. Against Azalea, like, historically, it's been a very bad matchup. However, with the defensive package, it may not be as bad as we think, right? Is it going to be good? God, no, it's not going to be a good matchup, but it's just not as bad as it used to be. Is it still unfavored? Probably. It's probably still unfavored, but by a little bit less. So then we finally get to what I would consider a truly bad matchup for Zen, and that's Florian. And it's just because you don't have the ceiling, so you're always going to kind of give Florian enough time to do his thing. And Dark Guardians, please 2 extra speed. Oh, one of the best trolls. One of the best trolls. So this is like the first bad matchup for Zen. And like I said, he kind of gives the new build kind of gives Florian the time to do all of that. And then you have also all the natural disruption to prevent any type of big turn, right? And Florian gets to feel his grave, play Phalanx, and so forth. So I think this is a bad matchup for Zen, and then so is Victor, obviously, right? Especially with Art of War gone. And then New is probably not as bad as it used to be honest. With the extra defensive package, it's not that bad. It's probably not what you want to play against, but it's not horrible. Not horrible. So yeah, like you're so good into all of these three, and then you're flipping, almost flipping, and then you start hitting your bad matchups. That's a very good place to be. Let's compare that to, say, Enigma, right? Where Enigma, you're bad into here, you're kind of mid into here, you're bad into here, you're slightly bad into here, you're flipping here, right? And then you auto win all this, except for Phi and Vinny. But like you literally auto win all of this. So like that's cool, sure. And then you beat up on New and Victor and Florian, but I think deck building can solve that, me personally. So when you compare that to the Zen spread, it's like it's night and day. You can't even like there's no way. There's no way you can say that this hero has a better spread than this hero. So let's challenge Zen's spot. Let's challenge his spot using Dio spread. Zen into Dio is bad for Dio. Dio is okay into Enigma, not amazing. Dio does beat Viserai. Dio probably flips with Aurora. Dio's probably bad into Azalea, and then Dio is okay into Florian, probably kind of mid actually, and then so forth. So she's got like a lot more coin flips, right? Whereas Zen literally just beats the top three. Let's see. Enigma is like 90% into Vincent. I did say when I placed, I did say that the Enigma players were learning, specifically the Vinny match, and that matchup is losing percentages every day. I don't agree that it's 90, but it's definitely not what it used to be. I do agree with that. I've been loving Vis right now. I've considered secretly building Florian as the anti-meta call, but I don't know if I can consider not running Vis. I think both are fine. But yes, I would consider Florian the anti-meta call. I would consider Vis the meta call. Competent Enigma should always beat Vincent. I mean, it's starting to lean that way. How is Zen and Vis be putting out the same numbers, but Dio is good into one and bad in the others? So the difference is he doesn't have defense reactions. He does. That's the difference. He can brick. He, I guess, can brick, but when all your blues are very offensive and you run 28 of them, he's not going to brick, right? So he's more consistent than him. He has D reacts, he doesn't. All while producing similar damage output. Does he have the natural anti-fatigue package built into his 60 aggro? No, that's probably his weakness. But that's the thought process. So that is kind of where I know for a lot of people, Zen being the best deck in the meta might be a little bit of a shocker, and it was. I gotta give credit where credit's due. I had a conversation today with Vero, and I was talking over him. I was talking to him over a couple matchups, and there was one specifically, this matchup here, that was really the piece that kind of made this tier list click. Because I couldn't understand why people were running this hero over Viserai. And it was creating like this cascade effect of like play Viserai or play nothing or what beats Viserai. But that's not necessarily true because there's two things that beat Viserai. And so he can't establish that dominance at the top of the meta. And that was really the missing piece that kind of just made it click. And it was why I actually decided to do this topic today, basically. Don't tell him I said that because he's gonna get an even bigger ego on Twitter, but it is what it is. So this is where we're at. I think that Zen is the best deck in the format right now, and I think that Enigma is a great deck, but I think that Enigma's gonna suffer a lot by the mirror is the biggest detriment to Enigma, right? Because they would love to CYB everybody to sleep. That would be like the dream, right? But in the mirror, whoever runs CYB is losing. Not always, but like it really impacts the mirror on who's running it and who is not. So I'm interested. I think Enigmas just have to land on the version that is better in the mirror. I think you're absolutely wild if you don't. I think you literally just have to. Dio, super solid. I think that Dio could have like a little less representation slash performance. I mean, Florian is a good anti-meta pick if that's what you're right, because you're good into Aurora, you're good into Azalea, you are probably pretty good into Dio, and you're good into Zen. You just have to solve these two at the same time. But yeah, he is a good pick. He's a very good pick. If I'm being 100% honest, this would probably be I mean. This is probably what I'm playing this weekend. I have my first CC Pro Quest, and I'll probably bring Florian to it. It'll be Florian or Zen or Aurora. I haven't decided. This good news, chat. We got our invite last weekend. I forgot to say anything about it. If anybody's in the market for a gold foil Hexagore, let me know. I'm your guy. But yeah, we got that invite. We secured it on a draft one, and yeah, so I might just have some fun and kind of probably not gonna play Zen for that reason. If I didn't have my invite, I'd probably play Zen. But because I have it, I'll probably play one of the Rune Blades. It's just what I enjoy the most. Bravo, CYB is a good deck. I do agree at the ProQuest level. But once you get to Worlds, I think you're gonna have a very, very hard time. Is that one in Huntsville by chance? That is exactly where I'll be this weekend. That is exactly where I will be. I think hero knowledge and skill is going to decide this metagame a lot more than the numbers say. I can agree with that. And that's why we're going to see a lot of consolidation during the world's meta. And so, like, I wish there was some way to display this, but I can guarantee you, if you take the world championship, and then the calling that's the same weekend, I can guarantee on a percentage basis, there's going to be double the CYB decks in the calling than Worlds. I can guarantee it. Guarantee it. I'll see you there. Looking forward to it. Have you decided on Florian List if you play him? I have. I have basically went all in on the mid-range game plan, and I've constructed the deck in a way to where if they leave me with a full hand, I have a way to punish it. That tells you anything on kind of how I built it very aggressively. I'll put it that way. Um, Ira CYB. Let's talk about Ira, right? Because Ira's not here and Ira's coming out. And there were some people asking about it. I'm gonna be man, I really don't want to I don't want to be a Debbie Downer on the new hero coming out. I think she's gonna be mid and a half, if I'm being 100% real. I know, I know, chat. You're gonna say, but you get +1 every single turn for, you know, 10 turns because you're gonna block and draw the game out. Uh, and you're right, sure, but the problem is that the aggro decks are a little too fast. It's kind of like the way you should look at Ira is it's an offensive dual wielding warrior. It's literally that simple, chat. It is an offensive dual wielding warrior where instead of defending with the dynamos, you get to swing it to offense, which is cool. Are you on Malefic and CMH? I am. That is correct. Do. What about Jarl? Other than it sounding like Lard hitting the skillet when I say his name, I think that his hero ability is I'm gonna seem like such a hater, bro. His hero ability is exceptionally average. This isn't LL tier list. This is not. This is CC. Believe it or not. This is not a LL tier list. This is a classic constructed tier list valid for the world championship. He is a hater. So, look, Jarl is going to have the biggest card pool in the game. I think. I don't know if that's a fact. I think it's a fact. I'm gonna roll with it being a fact. His hero ability is kind of mid. Let's be real with each other, right? Let's keep it 100. The hero ability is super mid. He's gonna be the first hero where you actively like just don't block with your armor against him. Like he's just gonna have to hit like these pieces of armor like twice to actually remove them. Now you're always gonna be able to like take their kneecaps out really easily, right? Because there's not that many heroes that have 2 block in the feet, right? Almost every hero nowadays can get 2 block in the helm, the chest, and the arms, which means you have to hit that armor. If they never block with them, you have to hit the armor twice with a buckle effect, which is like, it's kind of mid. Now, the weapon could change everything. The weapon could change absolutely everything. I never like to truly give, you know, a statement on the power of a new hero if I don't see the weapon. It's such a like imagine trying to figure out how good Aurora is without Starfall, right? Or Acilio without whatever, I don't even remember the name of his weapon, right? What if Briar was spoiled but no Rosetta Thorn? Well, I guess you don't you don't give a fuck. She'll be good anyway because they didn't errata her. But you get what I'm saying, right? Prism without Luminaris, like the weapon can literally change everything. So if the weapon is at least mid or better, he's gonna be really good. But right now, I think from a power level perspective, I think his hero ability is like a solid 3 out of 10. If I'm keeping it 100 chat, I think the hero ability is a 3 out of 10. His card pool is a 9 out of 10, right? Maybe a 10 out of 10. So if the weapon just comes in at like a 5 or a 6, he's solid. He's solid. Um, and then you do have the problem is, like, other than buckle and buckling blow and things like that, you don't have enough tools to chew through the armor to even get a hero ability. So that's why I truly believe this is my prediction for all of you, chat. And I've said this on Twitter and I think our emergency live stream. I think his weapon will swing for 6. It'll probably cost 4 to 5 resources. It'll swing for 6 and it'll say crush -1 on a count, -1 counter on a equipment, and if it moves the equipment to 0, destroy it. Kind of like that buckle effect, right? And then that way, Jarl has a game plan of forcing interaction, right? Because if you just let it hit, and I think it has to say crush. Because if it says just hit and it swings for anything above 3, it's just gonna be annoying. It's just gonna be really annoying. That's that's what's gonna tell you whether he's absolutely broken or not, is whether it says hit or crush and doesn't have a breakpoint. That's simple. That's simple. If you base it on Titan and Stalagmite, the toolkit doesn't make sense. How are you? I mean, Cornet's Peak is cool, but there's no way he's gonna run Cornet's Peak because his the legendary in the deck has to be the helmet. LSS is way too flavorful, right? Hell, look at the packaging. The packaging where it says Armory deck has his fucking helmet with like the lettering and shit, or his name or whatever. It has like the helmet built into it. You're gonna tell me the LSS is gonna print him a pair of legendary Crocs? Ain't gonna fucking happen. Zero chance that happens. I guarantee, or your money back, that the legendary is his helmet. The cool shit with the spikes. Shout out to whoever on Twitter said that he hides trail mix in there. That shit was funny. That shit was funny as hell. So it has to be the helmet. So like Metal, I know you play a lot of Guardian. You're well informed in that aspect. But and once again, if you want to sell an Armory deck, you kind of need to make the legendary playable, right? So I don't see a world where I don't see a world where Cornet's Peak is even on. Maybe it's a sideboard card. Maybe I don't see it. I'm gonna keep it 100. Ain't happening. Legendary Vans. I can get down with that though. I can get down with that. He ain't getting no legendary pair of Crocs. He just got new arm pieces in the Judge pack. Could be legendary weapon, but I'm telling you, like that would be my next guess. That would be the second guess. I'm 99% sure it's the helmet. But with that last 1%, I would say weapon. I would say that. His spec just gives -1 to an equipment. I mean, that would be kind of good. So I'm very interested to see where he goes. But currently it's mid because he has a below average hero ability, I believe, my opinion, and an exceptional card pool. So if the weapon's just halfway good, he's a player. He's going to be very, very meta relevant. The weapon would have to be really bad, and like chat has said, It literally, you could just do Titan's Fist and Stalagmite, and you would have, as long as there were enough cards that actually gave you a hero ability, you know. Ira, on the other hand, I hope she comes out with a card. I just don't think she's gonna be it. I think that other heroes would just do things better. Her specialization is like cool, but it's not like, I would rather just play a mystic hero if I'm being 100% honest. Simple as that. Bro, Killer Instinct? That's a throwback. That is a throwback. My brother used to play the shit out of that. I never played fighting games. I couldn't really get into them. But Killer Instinct, that is a throwback. So, I made my tier list. I gave it my best, chat. Now I'm going to open up the floor to the chat that only I can see because the shit's broken. I don't know why it's not showing on the screen. Fuck it, we have to go back because it looks dumb. It looks dumb as hell when I'm sitting next to like no chat. Oh man, this is funny. All right, so what I wanted to do, if you have any questions, either you want to question what I've placed, I'm more than happy to discuss it with you. Whether you agree with something, disagree with something, I'll talk about any of it. What's the card game? Flesh and Blood, not farts and burps. Definitely not. But so that's kind of where I'm at. That's kind of where I'm at. If anybody has any questions, I would love to help out as much as I possibly can. It could be questions about your upcoming pro tour. What's a better deck selection? I'm gonna sit here and talk until the chat looks like what you guys are seeing. That's when I'll stop. That's when I'll stop. So I'm more than happy to sit here and discuss things with all of you. I was looking for a Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel stream and came across this. What is this? So this is Flesh and Blood. If you're interested in trying this, there is an online client that you can play absolutely for free. It's called Talishar. Just Google Talishar; it'll come up, and that is like the Magic Arena equivalent, if you will. Just an on. It's technically not an official online client because the idea behind Flesh and Blood is basically a very big focus of in-person play. So they do not have a online client that just monetizes the ever loving shit out of you. Oh, and if you want to play the game and see the world, this is the game to do it. Magic just released their Grand Prix schedule of what, four of them in the US for the whole year. We have 9 events this month all over the world. So yeah, Flesh and Blood's doing really well. Our world championship is in 2 weeks. Welcome to the game if you end up giving it a shot. Okay, let me get caught up in chat real quick. Do you think that changes the meta game? Does it push? I would love to answer that question. It's gonna it's gonna hurt Aurora, right? Aurora with her 6 to 9 blues, like she's gonna have a stroke, right? Azalea really doesn't like frostbites. Dia's probably not gonna care, and the Mystic Heroes are not gonna care, and this ride usually has pitch left over anyway. So it'll push any of the really red line and stuff that's on a very strict curve down. But once again, it's really going to depend on that weapon and how early you can get those frostbites rolling. How do I beat Azalea while on this? I keep getting wrecked. It's a tough matchup. The the well-timed purgatories are very important. If you're not on it currently, Snuff Out does a lot of work because you can look into the hand, or not look into the hand, but they have to discard and then succumb as well. Those two are very important cards in executing against Azalea. Save your armor for the very important stuff. How's Enigma staying up there with so much aggro? Because she's just that good. I wish I had a better answer with you. I If you play against very, very high level Enigmas, I promise you this is correct. I can guarantee you she's up there. If you're playing against average Enigmas, she's probably an upper B tier, if I'm being 100% honest. With all this, it's everything up here is a skill check for Enigma. Everything down here is a skill check for all of these heroes against Enigma. That's why she's up. I disagree with Zen pick, but I only ever play with 12-man PQ. So what I mean, that's okay to disagree. And like I said, I don't think that he is fundamentally doing the most powerful thing in the game. I just think that he has an absolute insane spread. Simple as that. I think that he's really good into Enigma, good into Dio, good into Vis. How is he not the best deck in the game if you're favored into the next 3 best decks? Simple as that. Simple as that. So now we're playing Zen. I mean, I think it's kind of good. I think he's pretty good. Do you think Dio versus Florian is winnable for Florian? It depends on if you're on system reset as dash. It depends on if you're regular dash IO, and it also depends on the amount of tech that Florian has. So without knowing those specifics, I can't truly answer that question. I'm sorry. If you can give more specifics, I can then answer it. Felt table is better to learn to play, I think. One player. That's a great idea. I agree. Nathan, can you please tell everyone Zen is not the best deck in the format? We worked hard to return to glory and we're trying to lay low. Sorry about that. I do apologize, but you know, people come here for the truth. They come for the truth. I think I've spied on competitions enough, so I don't think I should be asking any more questions. Hey, you know what one of the 2 decks I'm playing is? I'll be either playing Aurora or Florian in Huntsville. But I won't be taking it like super serious. I already have my invite. We're good to go. Look at the 4 confirmed Majestics from the Jarl Armory. I have looked at them, and the tutor one is insane. I think the channel is really mid, like really mid, because it's not just frostbites on the channel one. It specifically says they lose life equal to the number of frostbites in their equipment zone. That's 2 different things. If it said frostbites, it's busted. But let's be honest, it's a blue ice card. How bad can it truly be? Simple as that. You just keep telling me to draw better. That's the best advice they could give you. Am I playing games too? Probably not tonight. But maybe I could be talked into it. I don't know. Depends on how good these coming up questions are. I asked earlier, but AFK'd, and you might have noticed, but how do you see Ira fitting in post-war? I don't think she's going to make a huge impact on the meta. I expect her to land probably in the B tier, if I'm being 100% honest. Not bad, but it's like Dynamos, but she gets to flip it offensively. Simple as that. I think the break points on CNC in cards like that will kind of carry. But if the 2 for 6s don't leverage a lot of value, her value will decrease very, very quickly. My curiosity is piqued. I, however, must not spend any more money on a new hobby. I'm seeing some of these cards and their prices. Oh my god! So, Flesh and Blood is basically. Also check out Felt Table, like somebody in chat recommended. That is a great way to like just play by yourself and learn. Flesh and Blood is one of those games that like once you get the staples, it can be kind of cheap to just pivot to another deck. But getting the staples like every card game, it can be kind of pricey. I can definitely feel that one. You think y'all pushes out Dio, Aurora? Dio's got plenty of blues, but Aurora, yes, he can definitely push out Aurora. Any deck tech for Vinny? No, but Shamir from Team Sigil just won a Pro Quest in uh the UK, and I think his list was published on the fabtcg website. So check that out if you're looking for a baseline as far as the deck tech and explanations and stuff like that. We haven't done the A to Z series yet. Also, this is a good time to remind everybody if anybody's looking for extra information on sideboarding for certain decks, specifically in regards to the A to Z series and some other heroes as well. We do have the Patreon if anybody is interested in supporting. We really do appreciate that. Blue block 3 ice insane. Yeah, I mean that how good does it have to be, really? I mean seriously. What location do you want Fab to go to next? I'm still waiting for a Brazil calling. That's what I'm waiting on. I don't know about you. I'm curious on your Fi placement. What are Fi's doing post Art of War ban? They're not doing anything fancy. It's the fact that nobody wants to block, and so either everybody wants to block or nobody wants to block, and there's salt the wound and tenacity. Pick one. Switch it out in the sideboard. He's literally getting carried on that card. Those two cards specifically. How do you see Max using Dio's new cards? The problem with Max is Dash IE is very close to LLing. And when Max loses the pistol, it's gonna get ugly quick. It's gonna get ugly quick. You're going to Hamilton PQ on Saturday? Oh, you're talking to somebody else. Sorry. What kind of Enigma deck will you play against LGS full of Rune Blades? So to answer this question, I would approach it in do I respect their skill? If I think they're really top level Runeblade players, then I would go regular traditional Enigma without CYB. If you think you can skill gap or check their skill and come out ahead more times than not, then I would play CYB Enigma. I think that's the solution that I would come to. Let's definitely play some games. We might have to. By the time you complete the A to Z series, the first dozen videos will be out of date. You guys gonna keep rolling. I mean, we're gonna have to update, right? Like that's kind of the idea. Because it is like forever content in a way, because the general identity of the hero should be relatively the same. But you're right. A lot of stuff change, a lot of stuff adapts, but making videos takes time. I'm gonna say it, and this isn't like a dig or anything. There's just a lot of fucking playable heroes. Like holy shit! It's starting to look like a Dragon Ball Z fighting game character select screen. I mean, look at all these heroes. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 4 is 24 plus 3, 27, 31. 31. And then after World, you have Ira. That's 32. 32 playable heroes in Classic Constructor. That's a lot. That is a lot. Oh man, smashing good time in Vis to have some tech cards against Dio. Good idea or just mid? I think it's mid. So this is a good way to think about smashing good time because you have the right thought process. But let's put a race face and smashing good time beside each other, right? There's no a race face is always valid, right? They literally cannot boost if they get hit by the erase face. Smashing good time, either they don't care about the item, they galvanize the item anyway with the arm piece, or whatever the case may be, you kind of lose a lot of agency into that card. So I can't think of any situation unless you already are running 3 erase face that I would want to run smashing good time. So I'm personally not a fan of smashing good time. I missed the stream. Post bands in on S tier. It is. I'm looking into picking up the bald ninja myself. Well, you're picking a good time to think of. I mean, I think he's good. I think the matchup spread is there. I think it makes sense. Thank you for joining me now, though. I know this is a meta talk stream, but as a new player looking to build my first CC deck to compete from Azuri, Kano, Riptide, Kasai, Leviathan, which one would be easier to pick up and start playing? From a ease to play kind of level, I would go with Kasai. Kasai is going to be like your easiest to learn. Kano is going to be the hardest to learn. That is, I wish I could give you a reference to Magic, but I didn't really play Magic. But like Kano is going to be very, very, I guess it would be like Control Blue, where you have to like know a lot about what your opponent's doing. You have to know a lot about what you have in your deck and where it is and things like that. It's very difficult. Azuri kind of plays on that knowledge as well, where the knowledge of what your opponent can and cannot do is very, very important. Uh, and then Leviathan requires graveyard management. So I would say Kasai would be very entry and then kind of branch into one of the other ones. Save Kano for last, probably. Yeah, and then you have y'all in November. So by the end of the year, we'll have 33 playable heroes in Kano and Storm. Thank you. Thank you. Nothing like blue control at all. Thank you for the clarification, because I don't play Magic. Clearly. Exactly 6 heroes in A, B, C, D. Yeah, that was by design. Technically, there was an extra one in C, and then we moved Kano to D, and we moved Arachne to PVE, just to make it look clean, for no other reason. No other reason. Oh man. You can flash in smashing with spellbound creepers. You absolutely can. I actually did that at the first world championship. Uh Team Blue Pitch member Win. I played against him and I blew up his pounder, doing exactly that. Because it was right when everybody was basically doing the whole belittle, channel mount heroic, flash in thing. He's like, "Oh, I've seen that before." I went like lightning surge, no go again with a full grip. And he goes, "No blocks." And I was like, "Bet." Smashing from Arsenal, pump the next attack, gain an action point. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. But I think that there's not a lot of decks that are actively running creepers. I don't think Florian runs creepers. I don't think. Haven't really thought about it, to be honest. The boots are just too good. The earth boots, they're just insane. And so I think Vis is the only one, and I don't think Vis really wants to be running Smashing Good Time. Thank you, chat, for clarifying that Kano is Storm and not Blue Control. Literally the exact opposite is in fact. Thank you, Noah. Thank you. I'm glad to know I literally could not have been more wrong. That's what I always strive to accomplish. That is what I always strive to accomplish. All right, chat. We're slowing down. I know y'all can't see it because the chat's broken. But oh, sorry. Yeah, you're right. Vinny does run creepers, of course. My bad. My bad. I already forgot about her. Oh, I'm about to get roasted in the purple Discord. I can already see it. I can already see it. We've been going about an hour 45. More smashing good times content than any other podcast. There you go. Piggyback Ricky. That was what made me think smashing good time in this. Get rid of cerebellum with a well-timed creepers play or force that. Um so the problem is you have to let's think about this for a second. If you ever play smashing from hand, it's like complete dog shit, right? Because you get no actual value from it. And they can also just block. Now, granted, cerebellum literally ticks down on its own and they can't control it. So you are buying some time. But there's so many different ways, right? They have more. They don't need to stack 3 cerebellums to beat Viscera, right? It's a race. So if you're making inefficient plays to disrupt, they might just come out ahead by just pushing through and letting you have it. And that would be my greatest worry because Viscera doesn't have a whole lot of attacks that actually make the on hit extremely threatening, right? Like not a lot of them have breakpoints. Arcane Seeds, Cold Foil. I'm kind of jealous. Kind of jealous. Thoughts on smashing performance in Brute versus Dio? I think that's worth it because the opportunity cost is so low. It is so low. Yeah, I think Brute item disruption is fine because the opportunity cost is much, much lower. Oh, Nigel Thornberry named the card. Oh, I remember that. The Thornberries. Nigel Thornberry. What makes Dio good in this meta? She's one of the premier aggro decks. She's has flexible game plan. She gets a little bit of sideboarding advantage because you don't know if she's on the system reset combo or just a more traditional kind of boom grenade heavy list. You just don't know. I agree. Dio does not need Cerebellum to beat Runeblade. I 100% agree. But if you throw in a race face, that's where they start to panic. That's what you want to do. I'm just trying to consider the last 3 sideboard options. Thought about Haunting Rendition for some D-React, but I don't think Erase Face is the answer either since it isn't Runeblade. I mean, that's a really good point, right? I think I would go more the Snuff Out route if you're not on that card. It's just added disruption, forces blocks. It's not the best breakpoint, but you know. What's up with 5 being so high up there? So it's solely off the back of Salt the Wound and Tenacity. I think those 2 alone and Pouncing Lynx being able to tutor both of them is really, really strong. I think it's literally that simple. It's every deck in the format kind of wants to block or they want to not block, and there's not a whole lot of in between. So Fi in a coupled sideboarding slots can basically just switch the cards and either go Salt the Wound if they don't want to block or Tenacity if they do. And yeah. Assassin sleeper pick like when Shoma took it down. I don't think that's the case this time. I really don't. Um Enigma is much more in the field in this case. Now, I will say Azuri is going to beat the shit out of Dio. Like absolutely destroy her. 'cause they can just flash in the erased face and a bunch of other I mean, just all kind of stuff, right? So, if you want a deck that beats Dio, if that's what you're worried about, Azuri, just rip that shit and mess them up. Um, but other than that, like, she's not as good as you think she is into Runeblade. The Rune Blades of today kind of scale very well if you take a couple cards from them, so they can just play the whole value game against you. And then same thing with Zen. Zen has a lot more D-reacts in his kit now, so he can actually combat the Azuri strategy and play a lot more mid-rangey instead of going all in on a combo. You just tear apart the combo and win the game. 4 to 5 card hands with 12 to 16 damage a turn if he wants head empty. Yep. You got a deck list with defensive package. You were talking up with Zen. Unfortunately, I do not that I can share. Uh, Not that I built it. I just have not been given the approval by the person who made it to share it. So I have to respect that. But I want to do right by the viewers and give you the honest, um, anytime I present information, it is truly what I believe is correct. I Sometimes I have to hold stuff back, like list and stuff like that, because they're simply not mine to share. But if I say that Zen is the best deck, I truly, truly believe it. And I hope that the brand that I have built with this stream kind of proves that. How I've just if I truly I'm never gonna hide, you know, what I think a matchup is. Um, I'm just not gonna do it. I don't understand the value is so small in doing it, and I just it's not even that serious. So like anything that's up here, I truly, truly believe it. But I have to draw the line at other people's list. I can't. If it was my list, I'd I'd give it to you. I'd give it to you, 100%. Plus 5 has Salt Wound and Tenacity, 100%. Rendition is a good sideboard option. Good against other Rune Blades. Aurora also has damage prevention, instant speed for the wizards. That's true. The one part with rendition is the fact that it's so it's not it seems very flexible, but it's really not. It's it when you draw this card, it says you will use this defensively. And sometimes you just have, you know. But what I will say is just take a normal Zen list and add some defensive cards and see where it ends up. You'll probably be pretty close. Will Teklo ever get too good? I'm gonna ask you a better question. I'm gonna flip it on you. What do you think this game looks like if Teklo is the best deck in the format? Let that sink in for a second. Do you really want that? I don't care if you're a Teklo Awesome player with everything you got. And there's just no way you would ever want the state of the game to be Tekla Vossen is the best deck. That seems, oh, that just seems rough. I don't know. Wax on, wax off, Zen. Write it down. That's not bad advice. Not bad advice. So many things that just wreck Tekla. New banishes his armor, overpower stops him from using. Yep. Zen has a lot of defensive value on Kasaya. Absolutely. That's his best defensive tool. I saw the Zen list tonight at Armory was pretty impressive, and yeah, not that shocking. I mean, it's pretty good. Art of War did not get unbanned. He just has the best matchup spread. In a vacuum, he's probably not the strongest deck. In a vacuum, I would probably say Viserai would probably be the best deck in the game. But with the evolution of matchup spreads and the fact that these two heroes are specifically good into most of the field and good into Viserai, it kind of pushes Viserai down a little bit, but still in a vacuum, I think Viserai is probably the best deck in the game. But just based off of matchup spread, I think Zen has to take it. And then everybody knows about Enigma. Enigma's been the standard for quite some time. I meant only in Vinny, not Viserai. It helps you get to. Oh, in Vinny, she should 100% have that card. 100%. Teklo being good doesn't mean he has to be the deck or totally meta defining. I guess what does good qualify as B tier? Yeah, it's fine if he's B tier because Teklo's kind of in that Reinar spot, right? Where like if the format ever goes to complete dirtle, he's just gonna swoop in and win an event, right? That's kind of like what his design premise is. Uh, but you don't ever want Teklo up here. Oh my god, that would be that would be rough. That would be rough. We got we make best and or we make band in the chat. We got we make band. Oh man. But look where he ended up. After all of that, he ended up right back at the top. Right back at the top. Nah, this is just for the last 2 weeks of ProQuest slash the World Championship. Where do you look at matchup spreads? So there is the data on Talishar. Let me go ahead and show you that. So why not? Let me go and log in and everything. Or not Talishar, it's on Fabrary. The best website ever. Let me go ahead and go back. So if you go to Fabrary, you can go to stats and then meta results, and then this will show you basically a sample size of the month. You can break it down by month or all time, which stat doesn't really mean anything. You can break it down by format. And this is a sample size of 114,000 games, which is a lot. The biggest thing is if you ever use this data, if you use the data in the first week of the month, take it with a grain of salt. Because it's probably not going to be accurate because the sample size will be much lower. But once you approach the middle of the month, like we have, you can get a lot more solidified results. And so these numbers are respectable. Of course, Dash.io is going to be underrepresented, or the conversion is not going to be as high because she doesn't have her new cards yet. Her new cards don't come out till Friday that actually put her into S tier. So expect that win rate to probably dip a little bit as people learn the cards, and then it'll shoot up. It'll definitely shoot up. We got Dash.ie with a really good win rate, but if we go to most played to give you a scale size, look at that. She only has 1,700 games, which is nothing. Compared to Dash.io playing 12,000 games, are you going to trust this number or this number? Right? That's kind of how you have to look at that. So anytime you see a number, you really need to question it by the sample size. Okay? So we can say Florian, he's got 20,000 games at 54%. Seems like a good deck, right? Also, there's this factor where you have to take a any deck that has like a really high skill ceiling, and you got to shave a couple points off because they're probably not going to play the deck optimally over the course of these 114,000 games, right? Like I never take the Kano stat at its value, right? And this is just killing it. Like I said, in a vacuum, he's probably the best deck, strongest deck. But I'm telling you, chat, watch this number. Watch Zen's number. Today is October 16th. We'll check back in next week. And I guarantee you this is 55%. I guarantee it's 55% with 10,000 games played. I'm telling you. I'm telling you it's going to happen. Whether you like it or not. And that creates space for decks like Victor and a couple of other decks. Poor Reiner. He tried. And News has like a decent amount of games, but not a ton. Just kind of like lost a lot of the momentum. I mean, 12,000 games is decent. KO just fell off. I don't know what I'm gonna keep it 100, chat. I didn't expect that one. I did not expect that one. So yeah, that's where you can look at that data. Very long-winded way to explain or answer that question. I don't know, man. Smells of psyop. Well, I'm not going to the World Championship, so I don't have a single reason to psyop you. That's the absolute truth. But I get it's either that or I bought way too many levels of enlightenment. I'll leave it up to you. Decide which. I'm trying to hype it up so I can move my no, I would never do that. I would never. But I'm telling you, watch that win rate go up, and I'm telling you, that Zen number is going to start flying. He's on the map. I'm telling you. So we're over 2 hours. We hovered around 200 people for most of the stream. I want to say thank you all for joining me. I really do appreciate it. Every single time I do one of these streams, I just get impressed over and over again. Just I'm glad it's content that's worth your time's got or worth your guys' time. Simple as that. I really do appreciate everybody joining me. I'm sorry that you can't watch it on 1.5 live. I do apologize, but you know, if you're watching the VOD, you can speed it up, you know. But I really do appreciate everybody being here. Yeah, I might pick up Zen if he feels good into big burly armor man. Probably will be because what does Frostbite actually mean when you run 28 blues as an aggro deck? Just saying. Just saying. But I really do appreciate everybody being here. Really do appreciate it. I want to wish everybody the best of the next ProQuest, the one this weekend. And obviously the last one, but I'm going to see everybody before that one. And I think I'm going to go ahead and call it. Really do appreciate everybody being here. Really do. And if there's anything that if you weren't able to catch it live, leave a question in the comments. I would love to answer them. I know not everybody. The people in Europe have been hounding me that the time doesn't line up very well. And I've been trying to find a way to do like an afternoon stream. It's just really difficult right now. So we're doing what we can. Maybe one day I would love to get the Europe group in chat. I think that would be awesome. I was planning on bringing Enigma to Worlds, but I'm way better at Zen. Maybe it's time to try this new style then. You should give it a shot. Roll Tide. Thanks for the stream. We'll 2x it tomorrow. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Take care.